Hello and welcome to OurTime. Formed in 2014, Panache Adelaide French Theatre is an amateur not-for-profit group performing French plays, in French of course, with subtitles in English. And with us is the former president, Andrew McKenzie. Hi Andrew.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. What else do I know? Paris, baguette.
Paris, baguette.
Yes, well I got that one.
Champagne.
Or champagne. No, it's champagne here in Australia, Andrew. You need to get the Australian accent.
And you're not allowed to say that anymore either.
No,
Yeah,
that's right.
so just watch your step.
I will.
Australian sparkling is
But
what we
you're
need.
not French.
No.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all.
Andrew, you've been president of this company, is it since it began in 2014?
Yes, 2014, yes.
And what started a French company here?
We had, there have been French plays being done by this particular group of people that is now the Panache, for 40 or 50 years.
Right.
Some of us have been going for that long, but we were under the auspices of the Alliance Française.
Right.
So we were all, it was
What's
the
that
Alliance.
in English?
The
Alliance.
The French
of
Alliance,
French.
yeah. But the Alliance Française is a French cultural outreach organisation that teaches in schools, language schools around the world.
Right.
We were just part of the Alliance Française and put shows on which they produced essentially, generally inspired by the director of the Alliance. And so we've been doing this for a long time, and then there was a change of policy and they asked us, the acting group within the Alliance, if
Never let the actors work it out. You know what will happen.
Yeah, if we would mind not being part of the Alliance but becoming our own entity.
Yeah, get rid of those actors.
Well, yeah, they were scared of the financial losses.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's what I say. Don't leave it up to the actors. Well, the good thing about this group is you've produced a lot of material over the years.
Yes.
But you've got a cabaret piece coming up, which
Yes.
which is about.
Which is about Charles Trenet.
And who was he?
Well, Charles Trenet was a French singer who came to prominence in the 1930s, and he went all the way through to the 70s, 80s even. He was considered by the Piaf generation, Piaf, Boris Vian, Barbara, those singers then. He was considered to be their great forerunner. He was the generation before.
Okay.
They all looked up to him, and their music was very different from his music. His music was music of the time, but he had a huge influence on that group, and he also had a very successful career in America.
So we've got a poster here of the show that's coming up, which is, when we say a cabaret show, cabaret being, I think, originally a French word.
Indeed, yes, cabaret.
And very much needed to have music and often food or drinks.
Yes. Well, our show doesn't have that.
So, no, well, it can have drinks, I guess, but, so what's the show called?
The show's called Boom, which was one
Oh, is that what that says?
Yes, Boom.
Boom.
Boom. And that was one of Trenet's big songs.
Right. Can you sing a few bars?
Boum, l'astre du jour fait boum, tout avec lui dit boum, quand il dit boum à l'oreille.
Oh, I wasn't quite serious, but thank you so much for that. I love that. Sorry to put you on the spot. But what you've got now, we've got a few photos of different things that the group has been involved in.
Yes.
Is this since they became...
Oh yes, this is all Panache.
So these are the actors?
Yes, these are the actors. We put that slide in first because our very first show was Molière is alive and well and living in Adelaide.
Right, in French.
And that one is another Molière play, Les Fourberies de Scapin, and he's the foundation of French theatre, really.
Is it because they're farces or are they serious?
That one's a farce. The previous slide was Le Malade Imaginaire, which is quite a serious play, considering that Molière died on the fourth performance of it while he was on stage performing.
Oh, goodness. Well, don't you do that with your yellow head.
This one is Musée au Musée Bas, which is a 21st century play.
Right.
which we did in your big theatre in some time ago. We not only do we do plays, but we do a lot of cabaret.
Right.
And
So cabaret meaning that there's song.
there's song, some theatre perhaps. That's me and my singing partner Chris Simpson. We're regular performers in the cabaret. Yes. This is our current president, Jean-François Gavanon, performing a scene from La Cage aux Folles.
Okay.
It's the scene where he's trying to show them how to drink tea properly. Yes,
Right.
It's wonderful.
You've certainly done some characters here yourself. Look at you.
This one was one of our very successful productions, which was Marseille que j'aime. It was a cabaret set in Marseille on the waterfront, and it was. And these are scenes from Marseille que j'aime at the market.
Mm-hmm.
At the market, yes, having a sing-song, and then that's just one of the latest cabarets we did was about the songs of Juliette Gréco.
Right.
Just as we're doing the songs of Charles Trenet this time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's how it works. So this is a group. Is this all of you?
Well, no, we have a fluctuating population, I suppose. We've been up to Auburn twice. They have a French festival up there.
Right, and this was part of the festival.
And we went up to be part of the festival, and this was just a dinner that we had with the actors and partners.
They're the best things to have when you're away on tour.
Absolutely
aren't they?
fantastic. We had a
great
wonderful
memories.
time up there.
Yeah, great memories.
Yes, great, wonderful time. Yeah.
Well, you've been doing these plays for some time. Obviously, they're all in French.
Yes.
So how does it happen? Do you project or something the words in English somewhere?
Yes, we do make a PowerPoint of surtitles, which we put on a screen above the stage with a data projector to project them. And there's, I've discovered, an art to surtitling. You don't translate everything.
Right,
no,
that's a valid point actually,
Yeah.
because you wouldn't be able
The
to read
audience wouldn't
fast
keep
enough.
up.
No,
Yeah,
particularly if someone's talking very fast.
Particularly if someone's talking very fast. Yes, so
If you get lost as well.
yeah, and so we've had, as I said, there's an art to the surtitles. We have had our moments with the surtitles, of course, because it's a risk. If the actors forget some lines or
Yes,
something nasty
I can
happens,
imagine.
then there's an obvious décalage between the
Décalage.
It's a lovely word, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't it a lovely word?
Décalage, it means a gap.
I know collage.
Yeah, collage.
Not
Yes,
décalage.
yeah, décalage. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so one of the plays we did last year was the lady turned over 3 pages of the script.
Oh,
Who was the lady who was operating the, and it took us 15 minutes to find out where we were because it was a very difficult text.
oh goodness.
And the best one of all was one of our actors who left out 3 pages while he was just jumped in his script on stage from page 50 to page 53 and left the surtitles operator in something of a quandary. But
Would have been read the words. Don't look at the actor. Read the words, and you'll catch up eventually.
anyway,
But that's a very valid point because I guess your seasons aren't all that long.
no.
Because it's a small group. So the audience come because it's in French because they speak French or have come from France or a combination.
Yeah, yes, certainly. Those people make up a good proportion of our audience. French expats who are out here, or people from Australians who speak French and who are interested in acquiring, experiencing some French culture. A fair number of our audience are friends of the actors. There's, the good old
how it
Aussie
works.
syndrome. That's how it works.
I don't like the word amateur, but amateur is often used to say you're not professional actors. And professional actors, in many ways, are just people who get paid to act. Community theatre groups now are, I guess, more the common word, but
Yes.
it is a community, isn't it? That
Yes.
you've actually formed a community.
We have a little community, and we don't mind amateur when you think that the word amateur comes from the French word for love.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it comes from aimer. An amateur is somebody who loves something.
Is that the code?
That
I
is
never
correct.
knew that.
Well, there you go.
you learn something every day. And
Yeah.
look, we're going to take a short break and you'll be able to learn something more about French because we're going to be chatting to Andrew about his life and how and why he became interested and part of a French theatre company. Back in a tick. Our guest in this episode is Andrew McKenzie, who speaks the French.
Oui, oui.
Oh, not here, please. So, Andrew, why and how did you end up speaking French? Were you French in a previous life?
No, I don't think so. I don't know anything about my previous life, so I could have been. But
It often interests me, though, why people sort of turn to a culture as a real interest in their life, or to learn another language, which isn't the language they were born into.
I just had a very good French teacher at school.
Yep.
And it ended up being my best subject.
Now, isn't that a wonderful accolade?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And I thank him every day.
And who was he?
He was an Englishman called Howard Wise,
Yep.
who would be long since departed this earth, I would think.
To France.
And he was teaching me at a school in Hobart. I was at high school there. And he was a terrific teacher. And he left and went back to England. I never saw him again.
Do you know the sad thing about the people who do teach us when we're young? We never really get a chance to thank them for what they've given us.
No.
And if they've been a really good teacher, you know, it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to have passed on that information.
Indeed.
But did you take to it easily? Was it the language spoken or the language written? Which was it for you?
I just seem to have a knack for languages. So I wasn't much good at maths and science. It just happened to be the area of academic strength for me, really. So when I went to university, I continued to study languages.
So what language do you think in?
Oh, I think in English, but if I'm working in French, I do think pretty well in French.
Right.
Yes. But English is by far my strongest language. Yeah.
All right, so you learnt that at school, you had a flair for it. What happened afterwards? How did you use it?
Well, I thought that I would like to be a teacher. That was my career path, I thought, when I got to the end of school. And
Was that because of the teacher as well?
not
Did you want
not
to
so
sort of
much because
emulate
of
what
him, but I just thought, looking at the teachers that I had, that it looked like an interesting thing to explore. So I thought I'd like to be a teacher.
And did you?
Yes, I did. I went to university, I did a degree in languages, majoring in French, and had other terrific teachers in the French department at Adelaide University. And then I did my dip ed, and I went out and got a job teaching French.
What has it benefited you? Have you been to France?
Yes, lots of times. Yeah.
Did they say you speak with an Australian accent?
Well, when I first went there in 1971, they didn't know where I came from.
Oh, okay.
They knew I wasn't French.
Are there dialects within the different areas of France?
Very much. You've got dialects, all sorts of dialects there. You've got regional languages. You've got accents with which they, a bit like a Yorkshire accent. The accent in Provence, where I was living, is really quite strong and pronounced. Beautiful accent, and you can tell a Provençal, you know, just by listening to him. Yeah.
Well, they say French is the language of love. So has it helped you?
Yes, it did, because I married a really nice lady.
And did you purr French words in her ear?
No, she wasn't particularly interested in French. Her father had been a French teacher, and she found herself lumbered with another one. She couldn't believe
that's
it.
That's funny. But singing in French,
yes.
The vowel sounds are quite different and almost purring like.
Yes. French is a fantastic language to sing, and I've sung lots of songs in French, and it's beautiful. It gives you great pleasure, at least to me, to sing in French.
Do you feel at home in French?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
That's why I ask you which language you think in, because it's one of those odd questions that a lot of people have never really thought about. if they speak two languages, do I think in a mixture, or is my brain wired to go one way or the other?
No, most of the time I would think in English, but if I'm working in French or writing in French or doing some translating or something.
When you were teaching high school?
Yes, high school, yeah.
What was the precedent that most people would take French? Because they had to, or because they wanted to?
At high schools in South Australia, most students do a language in year 8 or year 7 now because they have to, because it's a school policy that languages should be studied for a couple of years.
And what's the benefit of studying another language, do you think?
If you've got a couple of hours.
Yes.
Well,
as long as we wrap up within the next 5 minutes.
It gets you into another world. It's fantastic cognitively because your brain is operating at two totally different levels.
Is it true that you learn languages in different parts of your brain? Do you know?
Well, I don't really know enough about brain theory to comment on that.
But it's an interesting precedent that if part of our brain isn't, we don't know how it works or what it's used for, do we actually retain a language here and a language there, sort of thing?
I don't know. I find that I speak French and I speak German, and I'm learning Italian, and but
you're learning Italian now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and what benefit is that to you, apart from the obvious?
Well, it's so interesting to see the relationship between French and Italian.
Okay, that I understand. Well, they're close by.
Yeah, very, very, very close. And I also studied Latin, so I understand where they both came from and the connection between them.
Yes,
and I've just always found that very interesting.
Well, it is fascinating. Where did our language come from? But even more so, how many French words there are in English?
Oh, thousands and thousands and thousands.
Okay, so drop a few.
Okay, drop a few. Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Drop a few with an Australian accent.
Restaurant. Professor.
Say them both ways. So
restaurant. Restaurant. Restaurant.
Okay. And do like the other version better.
Yes. Professor. Professeur.
So it's a different inflection as well.
Yeah. Completely.
Okay.
Because in French words, the stress almost always drops on the final syllable. This is what gives the French its very even, sort of almost machine gun flow when you're speaking it. Yeah. Quand on parle français, on met toujours l'accent sur la dernière syllabe.
And what you said was?
When you speak French, you always put the accent on the last syllable.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the syllable. Yes, and yes, I've forgotten quite where we were, but learning French and Italian. So
well, you were talking to Isaac, who's floor managing, a minute ago, and he was showing off his schoolboy French.
Yeah, there you go.
How good was he?
Oh, he was fine.
Was he?
He was fine. Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, he did well.
And Isaac, how have you learnt? How have you used French in your life?
I've used French in my life to impress my mother mainly, and order at French restaurants.
He said he to impress his mother and order at a French restaurant.
Yes.
So have you been popular with the ladies in the French restaurants then? You're holding up 3. Are you saying 3 ladies in the French restaurant or 3 minutes?
3 minutes, and I cannot confirm I've been too successful in that department.
Sorry, shouldn't do that, but it was lovely to hear a young man having a chat with you in the language, and you being, there's Isaac. Now, we never saw you speaking French. Say something in French for us.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Oh, you said that before. That's cheating.
Mon couleur préférée, c'est bleu.
Bleu.
Magnifique. Ma couleur préférée aussi, c'est le bleu.
Oh, I can speak French. Oh, oui,
yes, you get a long way with a shrug of the shoulders.
Yes. Do you know, everyone says when you go to France, the people are rude in France. I actually didn't find that at all. And I also found that everybody made an effort to understand each other, which a lot of tourists don't do. But obviously being able to speak the language, was that helpful to you?
Oh, yes. I mean, I love going back to France because it's another world, and I'm almost another person when I'm speaking
that's
French there.
interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
My wife says that I'm different in French.
Right.
Yes, when I'm speaking French.
Well, she's got two husbands.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but the other thing is, whilst a lot of the landscape is not dissimilar to other parts of the world, a lot of it's very unique.
Yes.
But it's really the cities and the buildings,
Yeah.
because it's an older country with a different sort of look of architecture and living generally.
And it's a country with very distinct regions, and the architecture within a particular region will depend on what building materials were available there. For example, in Toulouse, they
Lautrec.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Everybody does that one.
I'm sure they do, and I couldn't let you down.
No, that's right. The buildings, they didn't have any stone. So the buildings are made of red bricks.
Right.
And it's a wonderful city. It's called the Pink City, La Ville Rose. And
Is that where that comes from?
Yes.
La Vie en Rose.
No, La Vie en Rose, that's a song.
Oh, I know, it's a song.
No, but La Ville Rose, the Pink City. La Vie en Rose, life through rose-coloured
Just
spectacles.
keep talking French over there, because we're going to take a short break in a tick. Just keep talking French, keep talking French. Tell me how fabulous the program is. That would be wonderful. And we'll be back in a moment to conclude this fascinating speech of Andrew in French. You're not talking, Andrew.
Oh, pardon, je dois parler comme ça.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolument. Alors,
ouais.
quand j'étais petit, je ne parlais pas français, mais après le collège, je parlais pas mal du tout français. Je suis allé à l'université et je me suis perfectionné.
Yes.
Et comme ça...
Baguette.
Oui, une baguette.
Yes.
Une baguette. Ah.
Oh, Coast d'Azur.
Non, mais les baguettes en France sont vraiment spéciales.
Ah, mouah.
Et les baguettes qu'on achète ici sont bonnes, mais elles ne sont pas comme les baguettes en France.
We'll be back in a tick. We've been talking about all things French with Andrew McKenzie from the Panache Theatre Company. Did I say that? Or
Beautiful.
Panache?
Wonderful.
Should there be
Panache.
Panache.
Yes.
With an upward inflection at the end. See, I've learnt that much.
Yeah. Well, it's a very heroic word.
Panache.
Yes.
With the hat with the feather.
That's right.
Because we've got quite a lot of French culture within our own culture, I guess the English culture and French being right next door to each other, so to speak, and often banging heads together over the centuries. But now everybody's friendly and everybody's sort of using that. But it's like the word champagne, because that comes from a region and they don't want that to be used elsewhere, even though we may have a better wine growing area here in South Australia. However, what has it really meant for you to have this language, this second language, third language, fourth language?
Well, honestly, French has really been a huge slice of my life.
But has it kept you younger now that you're learning more languages, do you think?
I think
brain more functioning?
Certainly. I mean, learning a language is fantastic for keeping your brain going, keeping the neurons flashing.
So, talking to our friends at home, would you recommend they go out and learn French or another language?
I certainly would. I'd recommend everyone learns another language. It doesn't really matter which language.
Well, I've got to say goodbye. So is bonsoir goodbye?
No, au revoir.
Au revoir, of course.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Okay. I'm building up to it. Just stand by. What other things should I say?
Et bonne chance.
Bonne chance.
Yeah. Au revoir et bonne chance. Goodbye and good luck.
Okay, what he said. Until we meet next time, thank you very much, Andrew. And
It's
remember,
my pleasure.
you have a cabaret show coming up and it's called...
Boom!
I was ready for that. So just check that out online. Check out the Panache Theatre Company. If you speak French, and even if you don't, you can read the words on the top. Until next time,
Au revoir.
au revoir.
Et bonne chance.
And that too. Until we meet again, keep yourself nice. Bye.